Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to City Skylines Nerdköping. I certainly hope you're having a good one because I'm certainly excited to be back. There have been a few changes since the last episode, as there often are, and they largely involve the farms. I'm pretty sure I mentioned I would maybe time-lapse building all of these, but I decided that, you know what, I kind of just want to listen to some music and chill a little bit. I was sitting on Discord with some people, and I just passively built the farms over a couple of hours of just dabbling in City Skylines and then dabbling in emails and just, you know, all sorts of different little things here and there. I was tabbing in and out of the game like crazy, so it wouldn't have made for a very interesting time-lapse, but if you paused it at the right time, you might have got a glimpse of an email that I'm currently not allowed to talk about that's super NDA'd that you'll find out about towards the end of the month, maybe? Yeah, a little bit of a spoiler and a tease for a thing that might be coming towards the end of the month. Anyway, let's just dive into some City Skylines, take a look at the farms, and talk about what exactly we're doing today. So what I will say is, at the time of recording this, the previous episode hasn't gone out yet, so I haven't had a chance to go in and get the names of the farms and whatnot. So if you suggested something on the previous episode, don't worry, I'm gonna go look at the comments and we'll get some names for all of the farms here. But I will say, I don't think any of the farms that I've built are quite as good as this little original one here. I love how this little farm looks. It's so just adorable and perfect. The rest of them are all a little bit less adorable looking and a little bit less perfect. They're all a little bit more functional. And they're complaining here and there about not enough natural resources. I have tried fixing that. I have tried going in and I have tried just painting in some farming zoning, but it's not really working. And I think that might be partly down to the number of trees in the area. So I might need to work on that a little bit. But for the most part, the farms are just farms. They're just fields with occasional greenhouses. And this one over here is all trees and whatnot, but they're all relatively functional. I did have to throw in a new roundabout to the highway though, just to pull some of the traffic away from this intersection here, because these two farms are actually built on a road that sort of carries the whole way through here to this bridge and loops around. So what I decided to do was basically put, you know, another entrance to the farming area over here and also another exit. So any traffic coming from this way, or maybe even here, that wants to sort of head out of the city in that direction can use that bridge, and then this bridge is more for traffic coming in here going that way, or traffic, you know, from up here going this way. I just thought it looked kind of neat. I actually really like how many bridges we have in Nerdköping. I love that we have, you know, these sort of double bridges here, this big old bridge here, this one here, this one. We don't really have any up here, but we do have the dam. I like how many places I like just the number of bridges we have. I don't know where I was going with that. Whatever. Anyway, what I think I want to do today, and I'm pretty sure I talked about this in the last episode, is I want to build another little town. I want to build something kind of like a village. And I'm thinking we're going to build it out here. I think in the last episode I pointed to this area for where we're going to build sort of a forestry industry area. I don't actually want to do it here because of how many hills there are. Yes, this bit's kind of relatively, it's not flat, but it's not, you know, terrible. But this space over here is a lot flatter around the water. And what I'm also thinking is that it's going to have one way in and one way out. It's going to be one of those little villages. Well, it's technically going to have two, but it's going to have one road in and one road out. And that road's going to go through this sort of little valley here. And it's going to go down. It's going to have a bridge going over here. It's probably going to loop around and connect to a roundabout here. So that's going to be how you get into whatever this little town's going to be called. And this town is going to be all about forestry. It's not going to be a huge industry, but it's going to be all about forestry. And something else I want to do is I want to bring one of these train lines over into the town, because I think that would be kind of cool. So we got to figure out where everything's going to go is what we got to do. So what I reckon is we'll start by bringing the main road in here. And I want to turn off straight slope for this because I want it to sort of follow the curves of the terrain a little bit. Now, I do reckon we can sort of go straight through there. I think that's fine. That's not so bad. And I think here, we're just sort of going to freeform this a little bit. I'll turn off guidelines. We'll kind of bring it down here. And I'm going to have to do a lot of work after the fact with this, I reckon, but that's all right. We'll bring it sort of down through these trees. And we'll sort of bring it over that way. And that looks all right to me. We'll kind of bring it down. Let's see. Where do I want this to go over the highway? I think sort of over to the left there. So we'll bring it down that way and bring it to about there. And that should be fine. Yeah, very steep and very weird looking, but that'll be fine. We can sort of tweak that a little bit after. This is a little steep and a little weird looking too, but again, we can tweak it after. And this looks fine by me. So let's start bringing this down. And let's kind of bring it this way. And it's essentially just going to run straight into there. So it comes the whole way down. It runs straight, you know, through the mountains and all that, which I think is fantastic. And what I reckon we'll do is we'll put our forestry industry in this space. So I can paint it in there with a industrial district brush thing. I reckon the forestry is going to be sort of there. And that's going to be pretty much the entire industry for this little town or village or whatever it's going to be. We could do it on the other side as well, but I kind of want to put houses over there. And I kind of, well, do we want to do farms? I guess not. We don't actually have any farming land out here. But yeah, that's going to be the bulk of our forestry. So let's build that first. Let's do the forestry first. So let's figure out where it's going to go. What do we actually need for it? So we need the main building, which is that size. Okay. So what I reckon we'll do is I'm going to stick with the dirt roads because I'm kind of liking those for the farms and whatnot. We are going to need it to be a relatively straight section though. So something like that. And then we throw the main building right there. And that gives us small tree plantations, sawmills, log yards, and all that. And this actually doesn't look terribly out of place right there. I kind of like that. So let's bring this sort of over towards the water a little bit. And let's bring it in a bit of a straight line here. And can I put a tree plantation on there? I absolutely can. So let's do one there and let's do one there. Now, not the right types of trees, but that's fine. We can change those to be conifers. And now it starts to, you know, blend into everything else we have going on, which is fantastic. And that's kind of what I want. I don't want it to look too overdone. That's what I'm hoping to avoid here. So bring that around there. And are we coming up to the edge of the district by any chance? Oh no, we've got plenty of space here. So bring it around there and let's do another straight section of road just here. And then we'll connect these guys together. So you come out, we'll turn on road guidelines for it. And that really didn't work. We'll use that tool instead. There we go. So that gives us a nice bit of space to play with, which I'm certainly keen to do. But what I think I'll actually do on this one is bring this road back by about 12 and bring it over. And then we'll put the tree plantations on that road there instead. Because what that's going to do for us is take a bit of the traffic away from this main road, even just sort of temporarily. So that's fine by me. We'll also double up on that just because we can. And that brings us up to the edge of the district, which is actually okay by me. So let's bring you over here and we'll throw another one. You know what I said? I wasn't going to just go crazy with placing trees and whatnot. I think I might be ever so slightly going back on that right now, but I'm sure it's fine. So that can live there. This can go here. And I think that'll let me put these essentially back to back, which I think is a decent little look there. And I think if I go in and throw a bunch of, if I use the tree brush, I think we can make that look even better, which I'm kind of excited to do. So let me just bring this road back here and then delete you because it's kind of in the plantation area. And then I guess what we could do is connect these roads together just because there's not really any need to do it, but I'm you know, it gives us room for the vehicles to move through and all that good stuff. And for this one, I think it might just stay as a dead end, or we could put the sawmill back there, or honestly, we can do anything with it. We can do something interesting, I'm sure. But let's bring you out a little bit. Let's bring you back, and let's bring you over like that. Oh, that did not work at all. Okay. Let's bring you over like that, and there we go. So that gives us a nice little loop for everything. Nice little bit of space. Actually, a good amount of trees in there already. So let me see. Where does this industry go? It does extend all the way down here. So let's... Let's build a little flat space here. So we'll flatten out some land. I reckon right about here, since it's kind of already got some flatness going on. And what I want to do is I want to put the sawmill up here, as well as some of the yards where the lumber can be stored. And we can smooth this out a little bit and just make this look like it's, you know, this is the more industrial part of things. I think that's probably fair enough. So let's get ourselves a road that goes right about... That is a path. That's not a road. Let's get ourselves a road that goes right about here. And I think that'll be pretty solid. And let's come back about, let's say 12. Let's bring it over and let's bring it down. So that gives us a good amount of space, but I do want to select it. I do want to flatten it. I think this bit, you know, this bit can be the real industrial part, like I said. So it's nice and flat. If anything, I might bring it down a little bit so it's not quite as high up, just so it's not, you know, looking crazy. Let's figure out the height on this. Okay, I think this looks pretty solid. I've got a couple more plantations just down here as well. I might put one or two back on this road as well, just to fill up that space a little bit. And I think that'll do in terms of plantations. I did say I didn't want to go too crazy with it, and I do kind of want to stand by that. So I think this will do for the time being. This space back here is going to have a sawmill. And the sawmill can't really go... It can't go perfectly central. It can go there, though, which is fine. And then these yards... I say yards. This yard can go there, I guess. And I think that's fine. I think that's kind of decent looking. We can move these around later on if needs be. But we'll just go ahead and put some pipes into all of this space to start giving water to the trees and to the buildings and all that good stuff. And we'll connect it up and eventually it'll start working. It's not going to start working right away because it doesn't actually have a highway connection yet. But, you know, in time, it certainly will. So we'll connect you guys together. We'll bring you up to there. We'll angle you that way. And then we'll bring a pipe out here as well, connecting you guys together. And then this space should be relatively easy. It's just going to be a case of pipes like that. And then, well, I guess we'll just sort of curve these around that bend a little bit. So that'll be everything covered with pipes. I think I am just going to go the lazy route. And I am just going to say from that corner to that corner. And now that'll give it all some water, which is fantastic. And I'll put the rest of the trees in here at some point as well. I'm not going to paint in any trees just yet. But what I will do is we can go ahead and we can bring this road a little further down here, just down here. And then if I bring it sort of over to the left, I think we're going to need a roundabout. I think a roundabout's kind of going to make sense here. So let's go in and let's get that set up. So we'll go for something like a 4. Well, let's do a 5x5. Since we have, you know, what is realistically going to be a pretty busy industry, we'll do a 5x5 there. We'll go ahead. We'll turn it into a highway. And then we'll go ahead and bring... Well, the dirt road's going to need to connect down there. Now, ideally, I would do this... Ideally, I would do this differently. Ideally, what I would do here is I would connect this up so that all the roads are kind of going on and off the roundabout all neat like. So there'd be that, and there'd be that, and this whole thing needs leveled as well. So you get leveled to that height, which is a little ridiculous looking, but that's okay. You come out by about 4. You come out by about 4. And that goes to about there. So basically we'd have something like this. We would have something that, if this actually works, which it might. Can I get that connection there? I absolutely can. So we'd have something like this, essentially, where we have, you know, room for the vehicles to get on and off the roundabout in a nice and neat way. I really don't know if it's going to be needed for the town here, the village, whatever it is, but I feel like better to be safe than sorry, because this will be a pain to do later on. Well, I say it'll be a pain to do later on. Realistically, it probably won't be, but I don't want to do it later on, so I'm going to do it now. And just like that, we have power out here. We have the connection to the highway right here. And you probably noticed as well that the vehicles are already heading out to do their thing. That's because, well, they absolutely are heading out to do their thing. And I'm very excited to see them heading out to do their thing here because, well, I have built the highway connection and it looks like this. It goes over, it loops around, it comes down, it connects to the highway. It looks all right, I guess, and it gives us some forestry. I actually really like this. I love this view of trucks just coming through the mountains and all that. It's very, very cool looking, and it's kind of reminding me of some of the roads I would drive. If I left it there, it would sound like oh my god, it would sound like I've driven some really interesting roads. 1, I don't drive. 2, I was going to say some of the roads that I would drive in Euro Truck Simulator 2, which is actually a series that we had here on the channel quite a few years ago, I think, as well as American Truck Simulator as well. I recently went and bought all the DLCs for those, by the way, so I won't say, hey, if you want a Euro Truck Simulator series, then, you know, leave your comments in the Cities Skylines Nerdköping Part 21. But if you're curious, I mean, that's what the comments are there for, I guess. I suppose. But yeah, no, I mean, I enjoy Euro Truck, and I have got a wheel and all that, so I could set it up with face cam and use the wheel and all that stuff. But I'll be honest, I feel like it would be a better live stream series. So yeah, no promises is what I will say. Now I want to make sure that we're getting a really good spread of trees in here. I want to just fill up this space as best I can with a bunch of conifers just to really blend the plantation sections into everything else around them. And looking at it, I don't know which one of these is the bigger tree. I feel like if we were using the smaller ones, it would blend so much better. So let's try bringing down the wild one. And let's see if these smaller ones work any better. It doesn't really look like they are. Let's bring you down as well and see if that does anything. Those are a little bit smaller. Let's bring you back up and bring you down. And what does that do? Oh, that actually worked quite nicely. So we'll do something like that. We'll have a bunch of those trees in here. And it is sort of blending them together, which is kind of what I wanted. I don't want it to be immediately obvious from a distance. Like from here, it's a little less obvious that those are plantations. You can clearly see that is, but down here is a little bit less obvious. And that's kind of what we're going for. We want it to look like, you know, it is actually the middle of a really dense forest. That's kind of what I want around here. So I think that looks all right. I think we could probably bring some trees over this way as well, and some trees up there as well, and probably along that sort of upper bit there. And through there too. And I think that looks okay. I think that kind of works. I think it'll be interesting is what it'll be. I'm actually excited to see, excited maybe not the word, I'm curious to see where all that traffic's going to go. Because I would imagine some of it's probably going to go through here as a bit of a straight shot to get to the docks, which by the way, I am gonna, you know, deal with this. I think I said we'd do this in the next episode and then a village later on, but I obviously got slightly carried away here with the village idea, so we're doing the village thing. But I like this. I think that's a good place for a forestry area, and I think it looks kind of neat, so I'm kind of happy with it. Now, something else I did was I raised this road up a little bit because I figured it would be a bit weird to have the terrain built up so massively there. So I decided to just put it on a bridge, and I think that looks kind of neat. And what I also want to do is I want to try using these little 2-lane alleys because I think those will look kind of good. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to about here, and I'm going to do a nice sort of straight section of road. Do I want to do a straight section of road, or do I want to curve this? If I curve this, my zoning is actually probably going to look more realistic for a village. So let's do a curved section instead. And let's bring it like this. And then like, I guess this, and then I guess around like this, and it curves kind of sharply that direction. And that'll be fine. I'm not so sure how I feel about it being so raised up like that. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like this area should be a little bit flatter, but I guess that's okay. But what I want to do with this is I'm basically going to put low density housing all along this little road, and then I want this little road to sort of curve back on itself and go under the bridge. So it's essentially going to go like that, and then it's essentially going to go under there, and it's going to connect somewhere else to the bridge and let traffic sort of go about its business that way, which I think will look kind of interesting. It'll look a little different to what I, usually do. So bring you down, and then we'll go and turn zoning off on that new little section as well. So no zoning on any of that bit. And I think that looks kind of cool. I gotta be honest. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to bring this road off of here. So straight off of there, and then a nice sort of 6x6 curve, something nice and easy to work with. Bring you back, and then bring this sort of straight through to maybe about there. And if we just set up a plain and simple little thing like that, it gives us room for houses back there as well, and that's kind of what I'm going for. This area is not gonna be, it's not really gonna be a how would I put it, I'm planning it, obviously. It's gonna have a lot of empty space. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be interesting. So that can be the start, at least, for some residential space. We'll put some more trees in there. And then in terms of shopping, I mean, this is what I don't really know. I guess this road should extend out a bit. So we'll have it kind of go in a bit of a, maybe not a straight line. Maybe what we do is we curve it, and then we kind of give it a sharp turn, and then maybe a straight road here. This could maybe be our main street, although it'd be very close to where these houses are. But regardless, I think I do want, one sort of straight road to put some shops on and things like that. So we'll bring you through to here. We'll bring you out about there. We'll curve those around into something kind of interesting, I guess. So, curves like that, goes into the main part. That'll probably push straight through to the other side of the water as well. So, it comes out by 10, curves a bit, goes that way. And then this needs to loop back on itself. But maybe we put like a supermarket out here. Maybe we put some shops out here. I don't really know. I just want something that looks kind of interesting. That's all I really want here, is something kind of interesting, something kind of weird. So while it doesn't have trees the way I would want them to be, I think this kind of looks okay at the minute. We've got a little bit of room for commercial up here, over there, and up here. We have a small medical clinic. We have a police station. We have a fire station. We have an elementary school, which I think will be really important for the area as well. And we just have a bunch of little houses showing up here and there as well. So people can live out here. They can get education out here. and they can work out here as well. Not only that, they can get a train out here too, because I figured it was probably only right that we... What the hell is that? It's a class 3, 4, 5. Oh, I may have forgotten that I got some new trains. Okay, we have a pretty good train coming out here as well, but I forgot to give the train stations water. So let's just very quickly do that. There we go. So yeah, we have a train that can run out here as well. Although apparently, yeah, we're not really generating enough power out here these days. So let's just throw another one of you guys right about there. And hopefully that'll be enough to power everything. It looks like it will be. So that's kind of fantastic. Maybe not. Maybe it is actually. Okay. So yeah, we have this train line that now runs from the city all the way out here. There's 820. There's room for 820 passengers per train as well. So we have that going on, which is kind of fantastic. And they just run, you know, across the region the whole way into the city, which I think is kind of cool. I should mention, actually, I was talking in the last episode about wanting trains that looked like the DLR in London. And a bunch of you on Twitter, on Discord, and in the comments mentioned that on the Steam Workshop, there are, in fact, replicas of the DLR trains from London. I did go and get some of those, and I think I have them on this line right here. I'm not 100% sure. Is that a DLR train? No, that's a Sydney. That's one of the Sydney ones. I do have them somewhere. I'm almost certain. Although I think I was going to put them on that line as well anyway. So, line details. Remove vehicles. Select types. Yeah, we have DLR 1, 2, and 3 cars. Let's do the 3, and let's add 2 of them to this line. And they can go ahead and do their thing, and we should eventually see the DLR trains coming about here. Not really sure where they're going to start, but I'm thinking probably back there. So any second, we should be seeing them. Actually, thinking about it, doesn't this line cross? No, this line doesn't cross anywhere. Where's the train? Oh, there it is. So yeah, there's the trains that I was talking about. Those are the ones that people suggested on Discord and Twitter and the comments. So we have those going. We have these trains going back and forth here as well, which are... I'm not really expecting many people to use them right now, especially since the train line itself, you know, it terminates right here and doesn't really go anywhere right now. So at some point, I'm sure some of this will fill up, but I think we're going to have to put a couple of things out here to make it a little bit more appealing. But one thing I suppose we can do is we can throw a bus out here, which I would certainly be interested in doing. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm actually maybe going to use, I might use one of these guys just because it would look a little bit interesting. Do I have bus lanes though? I absolutely do. I think I'm just going to use one of these. I think that's probably not a bad way to do things. So just a bus lane or a bus road that goes here and there. So something really, really simple. And what we can do with it is set a bus stop to be right there. And then the bus comes out and it's just going to come over into the middle of the little kind of town space here. So it can stop right about there. And then we'll bring it down sort of to the front of the elementary school. And then we could bring it into the work area back here. I'm not going to do that. I don't think it would make too much sense. We'll bring it to about here, and then we'll just take it back out. And we'll pause for a second. We'll select the types. I'm not really sure what this should be. The Citaro C11 is 75 people. Definitely not the double-decker. I think the Citaro K is the smallest bus that we have. And this is just going to be the 14 line. And I guess color-wise, I don't really know what it should be. Maybe green. The train line's green that comes out here as well. So maybe we'll just do a green bus line there. And that'll be a little bit weird, but it'll also sort of, you know, do the job that I want it to do. It'll get people from the train station to the little town, and that'll hopefully encourage 1 or 2 people to maybe use the train to come out here. I'm not really sure if it will, but we'll find out. And I kind of like this. I do. I think this is kind of nice. It's weird is what it is. And it definitely needs work. But it's the start of something kind of cool, I reckon. And it also gives us, you know, forestry industry, which is kind of fantastic. And, you know, it gives us people out here. It gives some movement out here. It changes this space and puts a little village on this this lake, which I absolutely adore. And I'm thinking what we could even do is we could probably bring a bit of a road back here, and we could probably do just a couple of shops by the train station. So let's try and do that. Let's bring you out to there. Let's bring you to there. We'll make a little bit of a grid there. Nothing too crazy. And I want to basically do similar at this spot. Now, where would that come out to? So to about there. Now, that's actually not the right distance at all. What distance should that be? So that right there is 16. So you need to come out 10. So if that's 20, that's 19, 18, 17, 16 there. You come down and curve that way. And then you can just go like that. And that'll give us just a little bit more space to play with in terms of commercial zoning and all that good stuff. So let's just slope you a little. Oh, God. That's not quite what I wanted to do, but I guess it works. So we'll just slope that a little bit further so it's even weirder looking, I guess. And I don't know if we should do the same over here. I think this might be a little bit silly looking. Let's bring you back up to about there. And let's slope these roads just slightly differently. So you slope like that. That's a little slope there, and that's fine. And I think if I update all of this, we might actually be able to get some zoning into... Oh, we can get zoning into all of that space. Interesting. I guess we're going to have to flatten it, which is fine by me. So flatten and smooth a little bit. We'll sort of smooth the entire area. We'll update these roads. We can now get zoning in there, which is fantastic. We can do some parking lots and all that good stuff. I love that I say zoning and immediately follow it with parking lots. Like, that's the priority of anything here. But regardless, we do have people coming out. We do have people wanting to use these trains, even if it's only like one or two. And I'm actually really curious to see, there's the buses. So that's actually perfect in my opinion anyway. I think that's perfect for, oh dear. Do we? Yeah, we're having power problems again. Okay. I don't really want to bring power in from, I guess I could bring it from here up that road and around, but I kind of like the idea of this place almost being, almost sustaining itself. So what if we were to do a turbine there, a turbine there, and a turbine there? Now those are generating, let's take a little look once they get up to speed. So 8, 8, and 8, and you're doing 4 and 7. So if we get rid of you and you, we can bring a little bit of a power line, and I'm going to put another 1 and 2 just because I can. So that'll be generating more power than the turbines that we used to have there. And all we need to do is a little bit of a line like that, and that'll generate power for this entire space. Although you guys are now not connected, which is a bit of a pickle. So let's just run you to there and run you to there. And there we go. Now this entire space has power. They got some wind turbines up in the hills, which I think looks kind of cool, especially on the train. That will be kind of, you know you're getting close when you see the wind turbines. But I kind of like this. I really do. I like that, we got people going about. I don't like that people are parking in these roads here, but we got a couple of cars coming and going. We got a couple of buses doing their thing. We got absolutely not enough workers out here, which is a bit of a concern, I'll be honest. A little bit worried about there not being enough workers for these handful of commercial buildings out here, but I guess we'll deal with it. And I guess, to be fair, we have got room to put, more houses down here. We could technically put more houses up here, but thinking about it, I don't know how good of an idea it would be to put houses right next to all of this. It would look a little too grid-based and all that. This is supposed to be commercial, is what it's supposed to be. But based on the fact we don't have enough workers, I'm not so sure how I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'll be honest. Now, thinking about it, something we could do to bring people out here is place a bunch of these guys. So this is a noodle restaurant, right? And it's in this section of my unique buildings. So a noodle restaurant, and then we could do a ramen restaurant behind it. And it's going to be a bunch of just sort of standalone buildings, which might be kind of weird. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But at the same time, it kind of fills up the space and kind of in an interesting way. So you have like a drive-in restaurant here. You have actually a couple of drive-in restaurants, which is kind of neat. We have service station and restaurant here. And to be honest, a service station and restaurant over here would be a little bit out of the way, but over this way, it certainly wouldn't be. But to be honest, I kind of like the idea of putting the service station and restaurant over here. I think that's kind of a cool place for it. Or even here would be kind of a good place for it. So something like that for service station and restaurant. And I like that. I like that it's sort of a very unique looking building. It's not perfectly aligned to the grid that we have going on. So that's absolutely going to live there. It's absolutely going to need water as well. Thinking about it. That is certainly going to be a necessity of any service station and or restaurant. So we'll get the pipes into all of this space. So something like that will give all of them water. We're probably going to want to lower just how steep these roads are, just to get rid of some of the weirdness going on at the back of this guy. So something a bit like that's fine. And then you can sort of slope a little differently there too. I'm not super thrilled about getting rid of, all these hills, but I want these buildings in here and I want them to look just interesting. So I'm kind of willing to make that sacrifice. I was also thinking about the resort hotel, but I think it would be too much. I mean, we can take a look at it. Yeah, I feel like that's too much. I definitely feel like that's too much. But what we can do is we have these little guys. So I could put a little drive-in restaurant there, then move the service station over that way a little bit. And I don't think that looks so bad. It's a bit weird looking. But I mean, I could rotate this guy to be a little more parallel to the service station, then just sort of shuffle the whole thing over a bit. I don't think that looks so bad. And it makes the buildings look a little bit more interesting given they're off center. I mean, this guy's still connected to the roads. There's no complaints there. And then in terms of the other building, we have this other drive-in restaurant, which actually would probably fit in there really nicely. Okay, let's try something here. Let me put you back there. Let me get rid of you for a second. Let me put this drive-in restaurant there. Let me put the service station there. Let me grab the service station and move it. And can I put it in here so that it's at this angle? I can't really without adjusting some of the roads. But if I was to put the service station here, and if I was to say it was the same height as that building, is it connected to the road? It looks like it is. It's not complaining and saying that it's not connected to the road. So that has me thinking that we get rid of this back road here. Just for the time being. Because this guy's connected, right? This guy's right next to it. And it's just a bunch of interesting looking buildings that are all sort of off grid and all that stuff. It's going to make this area look a lot more unique. And that's kind of what I want for it. So I like this. I kind of dig this. I don't know what I'm doing with all of these buildings, but I like what we have here so far. Okay, so with a little bit of detailing here, I think this kind of looks all right. I'm also going to commit to putting this club in here just because I've got nowhere else to put that thing. And I think it actually looks okay out here. I think with a couple of maybe European buildings next to it, it might look even better. So that's honestly probably what I'm going to do here. So if I go in and say I want some high density buildings, I want a couple there. Actually, maybe the modern city center buildings will be even better here. That might be the way to go for this. But if I do this and then this, that'll just give us a little block of buildings, and I'm kind of okay with that. So let's just turn this into its own little district. Holly Square is the name that we're getting for the time being. I'm not really so sure if that's the name I want to stick with. But what I will say is that we need to start naming more things, right? Because Nerdköping originally started, I referred to this town as Nerdköping. And then the city of Nerdköping. And I feel like the city is called Nerdköping. And I feel like the region is called that as well. So what is this town called? What do we call that? And then what do we call the little village out here? Which is by no means done. This is gonna be a while in the making, but I actually don't really know what to call any of them. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not really sure. And I kind of like that I'm not really sure. I kind of like that I'm trying to figure that out. But I'm also curious as to, you know, what your thoughts happen to be with regards to that. And I'll tell you what, that right there is kind of exactly what I wanted for this area. I like that the club is sort of cut out there and surrounded. Like the club's been here for a while and the other buildings have popped up around it and the club has managed to stick around. I kind of dig that. It's a little weird looking with some of these buildings, but I kind of like that. I also like that we're getting this beautiful wraparound on the corner there. So that right there is kind of perfect. That has worked out exactly how I would have wanted it to. It's a bit weird on this side, but we'll ignore that. This is kind of cool. That's kind of what I wanted there. They're a little bit taller than I would have perhaps liked for this, but that's whatever, I guess. But what we can do is we can come in here. We'll do a nice brick path there. And I'll just cut in there so I can do this as well. So bring you up to about... Actually, you know what? Take you out for a second. Because what I need to be doing is making sure it has pavement underneath it. So up to about there, and then extend you a little bit further forward. And extend you a little bit further forward as well. There we go. So that gives us a path through, you know, between the buildings and everything else. And it gives us a little bit of room here just to do something for, you know, some kind of little park, I guess. So we'll bring you up to the edge of the concrete. We'll bring you up to the edge of the concrete and we'll bring you up that way. And then bring you out to about there. Bring you down to about that corner and bring you straight down to about there. And it's not perfect, but it'll do. I like that. I actually like that we're just going to have a lot of grass and a lot of trees and things like that in here. I'm kind of keen for it. So we'll do a nice big tree back there. We'll do one about there. And we'll just put some bushes here towards the front end. With maybe another one of these beautiful, beautiful pink trees. And one of you guys can sort of go right about there. And that looks fine to me. I kind of like that. And I kind of like this very sudden cutoff from these buildings to the small ones. There's something just weird about it, but I kind of like it. I really do. And I like, oh, beautiful. That's leveled up. Fantastic. I like that this is actually busy as well. There's actually people coming and going here. So that's good as well. We've got this little area. We've got all of this. We've got fewer demands for people to work out here, which is good news. And you absolutely need power. So what way do we want to do this? I guess what we do is we just run a power line from here to about there. And maybe just move that one because it doesn't have its, there we go. It didn't have its pylon, but now it does. So just connect those and there we go. So that'll give you power. That gives the school power. So that's going to be working. Are the buses actually popular? I feel like they're not in the slightest, but I feel like it makes sense that the buses would be, you know, going around here at the very least. But I kind of like this. Like I said, it's nowhere near done. It's got plenty of work still to be done on it. But it fills up that little space. It puts something interesting out there. It gives us an industry that we didn't have previously. It's kind of got a cool road going through the mountains to get in and out of there. It's got this overpass thing. I just like it. I'm actually really pleased with that. I gotta be honest. I'm actually really pleased with that. And I'm also really happy that we finally have trains using that elevated section there, even if, you know, buildings do occasionally pop up. inside of the elevated section there, which they really shouldn't be doing. They definitely shouldn't be doing that. But it then throws more people into this space, and it makes this thing, you know, have to deal with even more passengers, which I'm okay with, because they might get onto a metro line or another train line, or they might hop out of the station, cross the street and go here. So the city is working exactly the way I want it to. It's sort of a hub for everywhere else in the region. So with that in mind, I think we can leave it there. So thanks for watching, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. If you've got any suggestions for the name of this little village or the town that we started the region with, do leave them in the comments below, because I would be very, very curious. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.